Hi, my name is Angela Alvarenga, and I'm here at IdeateTV, and I am here with Brandon Perlow, one of the co-creators of Watson Holmes, and we're here to ask him a few questions. So, Brandon, what was your inspiration behind creating this graphic novel?
About 2011 and New Year's Eve, Paul and I were talking about, classic properties and how could they be redone? And I was discussing, wouldn't it be cool if Sherlock Holmes, the characters were African American? And we were going over some ideas, and then pretty much the next day after taking a shower, I was coming up with some more ideas, and I was talking with them to Paul. So that's how the genesis of it began. Pretty much I was looking at shows, when I was a kid, I remember a show called New York Undercover. I kind of like the feel of that, and I was like, would it be cool if Watson and Holmes just had that really raw feel about it, and I wanted to have that in the book. So no supernatural, just like really gritty crime drama that takes place in New York.
That's awesome, especially that you chose to pick black characters on something that was historical and classical, and I think that's great because with that, did you have to were you finding research, or were you staying true to the classic Watson and Holmes?
Surprisingly, we stayed very true to the classic ideas in many respects. We changed a few things here and there, but if you really think about how late 1800s, early 1900s London was, it was a pretty sketchy place and it was pretty dangerous, and you were to compare that, with modern times of modern cities, they were very similar. And I feel like even the names work for African Americans. So it's like, why not try it out and see what we could pull off? So one of the things I felt that was Watson has always been shortchanged, and this guy is military trained, and we really wanted to pump him up a bit and make him a parajumper, which is a special forces type of medic. Okay. These are the guys that rescue the Rangers and the SEALs and all that and do other dangerous missions. So Watson is a very tough guy, very smart guy, and a very tactical guy. He really is the guy who's got Sherlock's back, and that's the kind of partnership we wanted to make versus him being the guy that Sherlock has to rescue all the time.
Yeah. That's definitely true because in the classic Sherlock is the number one guy, and then Watson's always a sidekick. So yes. Perfect. Okay, my second question for you is, since you were the co-creator, how did you find a writer that could really capture your vision?
Well, we went through a couple of writers and tested them with outlines to see what they would give, and many times they would go too supernatural or too juvenile with it, and they weren't bad writers, they just weren't a fit. So when I was in New York, I met up with Justin Gabri, who was recommended by my friend Kevin Grevious as an editor, and we told him what we were trying to do, and he's like, hey, I got a guy for you who's perfect for this, and he introduced us to Carl. We gave Carl time to do an outline, and he just nailed the characters for us, and we decided to have him write the book. And I knew of Rick Leonardi's work because I loved his work, and he was available, and he's really big on Sherlock Holmes. He's a huge aficionado, and surprisingly, he knows a lot about Sherlock Holmes. So anytime we were having stuff in the story that didn't make sense, or the clues weren't hitting right, Rick would say something, and he would, implement a little bit of that stuff in the story as well. So he did a little bit of the co-writing in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you found someone who was specific and who knew exactly, because then they don't have to do the research either. And then lastly, do you have anything coming out that your fans can look forward to?
Yes, I'm working on a book with Paul called Nimbus. It's a science fiction series that's going to be very different than what you've seen before, very diverse actually. I'm still working on it. It's probably not going to be anything shown till the summer, but I should start throwing out a little bit of preview art for you guys to see.
Okay, great. Where can we find this book?
Watson and Holmes you can find on Amazon, and you could find it on Comixology digitally and Amazon Kindle digital.